What if I told you the secrets to a man's heart were never hidden in beauty magazines, dating apps, or the shallow oceans of modern flirting, but were written a century ago by a Swiss psychoanalyst staring into the abyss of the human soul? What if I told you that the very vulnerabilities men guard with steel and silence are the keys to turning fleeting attention into devotion and lukewarm affection into a fire that never dies? Carl Jung believed that each of us carries shadows we cannot see, and it is in these shadows that true influence lies. While millions of women chase men with frantic gestures, there exists another path, one known only to those willing to look deeper. Because the truth is stark. Men have weaknesses, profound, universal, and woven into their biology and unconscious minds. And the woman who understands these hidden fault lines becomes unforgettable. Listen carefully, because what I'm about to reveal is not mere dating advice, nor a shallow game of seduction. It's a map into the uncharted territory of the masculine psyche, a blueprint forged from Jungian insights, evolutionary instincts, and modern psychology. 9 patterns, 9 invisible doors into a man's deepest desires and insecurities. These are not tricks to deceive him, but truths that awaken your authentic feminine power and command respect without uttering a single desperate word. When you embody these secrets, you transform into a woman who is not simply wanted, but chosen. Not just pursued, but cherished. And here's the greatest promise. As you unlock these patterns, you'll realize they don't merely change how men see you, they change how you see yourself. And that, my friend, is where the real power begins. The world has taught women that to be loved they must be gentle, endlessly available, eager to soothe every discomfort. Be easy to please, they say. Don't be too mysterious, make him feel safe. Yet the women who command the fiercest loyalty often break these rules entirely. Carl Jung spoke of the anima and animus, the feminine and masculine forces intertwined within us all, and it is from this sacred dance that true attraction springs forth. Men, though armored in bravado, are creatures of hidden fear and profound longing. Their souls hunger for admiration, but equally for challenge. For tenderness, but equally for mystery. They are drawn like moths to the flame of a woman who embodies a paradox. Soft yet unshakable, warm yet elusive, loving yet sovereign. This is not manipulation. This is conscious influence, rooted in wisdom, respect, and self-worth. For true feminine power is not about bending yourself to please a man. It's about awakening his deepest masculine energy simply by standing fully in your own. And the moment you understand these hidden currents is the moment you become magnetic, not merely in love, but in every room you enter. Pattern 1. The validation gateway. There is a silent ache in almost every man, a hunger woven into his bones. It's the need to feel significant, to be seen as more than ordinary, to believe he matters in a world that measures him in silent competitions he never asked to enter. Carl Jung might have called it a battle between the ego and the shadow, between the man he shows the world and the boy inside who fears he's not enough. Modern psychology confirms it. The male brain lights up under praise as if a flame has been touched to dry wood. And here lies the first weakness. Men crave validation, but drown in it if it's given too freely. Most women flood a man with praise, desperate to be liked. They like every photo, cheer every small success, thinking it makes him feel adored. But instead, it makes her presence predictable. And the predictable fades into background noise. Imagine this. A man posts about winning an award. 1,000 women comment, "So proud of you." But you wait. You observe. You arrive a day later and say, softly, "It's fascinating how your mind works when you're driven by passion. There's something rare about it." That single phrase will echo in his thoughts for days. Because you gave him what every man craves, not generic praise, but validation that sees him deeply. The practice is simple yet profound. Pause before complimenting. Observe him like a rare gem. Find the unique quality behind the action, and speak your praise sparingly, so it becomes a treasure. This is not cruelty, it's respect for yourself and for the power of your words. When you master this pattern, you become the woman whose admiration he works to earn. And in that dance you awaken his deepest masculine drive, to rise, to strive, to deserve. Pattern 2. The mystery principle. In every man's soul burns a restlessness, a part of him that refuses to be tamed, that craves the unknown. Jung spoke of the anima as a shapeshifter, elusive, unpredictable, capable of transforming herself in 1,000 forms. And here lies the second weakness. Men grow bored in certainty and addicted to mystery. Yet most women bare their entire souls in the first weeks. They answer every text in seconds. They reveal every detail of their day as if transparency alone guarantees love. But predictability is poison to desire. Think of it like a song. Played once a week, it stays haunting, beautiful. Played 10 times a day, it becomes noise. So too with you. Imagine he asks, "How was your day?" Instead of pouring out your schedule, you smile and say, "Parts of it were intriguing. Tell me about yours," and let your silence carry an unsolved story. Or perhaps you delay replying to his message, not out of games, but because you're immersed in your own passions. This subtle unpredictability creates an irresistible question in his mind. Who is she, really? What world lives behind her eyes? You become the plot twist he cannot predict. To embody this, live fully. Cultivate your own pursuits so that time with you is precious, not guaranteed. Let conversations breathe. Let silences hold secrets. This is not deception. It is preserving the sacredness of your essence. When you master this pattern, you become the woman who haunts his imagination long after you've left the room, and he will return, over and over, seeking the pieces of you he has yet to discover. Pattern 3. The emotional mirror. Few things strike a man's heart as powerfully as the sense of being truly seen. Beneath his stoic exterior, beneath jokes and casual shrugs, lie emotions he cannot name or dares not admit. Here lies the third weakness. A man yearns to be understood, yet fears revealing too much. Most women, seeing a man troubled, rush to soothe him or bombard him with solutions. What's wrong? Tell me, how can I help? But Jung taught that healing begins not with fixing, but with recognition of what is unseen. Instead, become his mirror. Observe him closely, the furrow between his brows, the weight in his shoulders, the quiet edge in his voice. Then reflect softly what you perceive. You seem restless tonight, like your mind is carrying something heavy. Or, I sense frustration under your calm. Is there something you wish you could say? Watch his eyes widen. Hear the pause in his breath. For in that moment, you've touched a place no one else has reached. Science confirms this magic. When someone feels deeply understood, their brain releases oxytocin, the same chemical that bonds mothers to infants and lovers to each other. This is no manipulation. It is radical empathy. To practice it, listen more than you speak. Study human micro-expressions. Speak only observations, never judgments. Let silence do half the work. When you master this pattern, you become the woman he trusts with the truths he shares with no one else. And trust is the soil from which deep, lifelong desire grows. Because ultimately, the man who feels seen never forgets the eyes that saw him. Pattern 4. The fear of inadequacy. Every man carries a hidden shadow stitched into the lining of his soul, a quiet terror that he is not enough, not strong enough, not successful enough, not worthy enough. Jung called it the tension between the persona, the mask we show the world, and the vulnerable truth beneath. This is the fourth weakness, the silent fear of inadequacy. No matter how confident he seems, this fear pulses like a low drumbeat behind his eyes. It drives him to build empires, chase achievements, boast of victories, all to silence that haunting whisper, "You are insufficient." Most women, sensing this fear, rush in to soothe it with frantic reassurances. "Of course you're amazing, don't worry." But excessive reassurance often backfires, confirming the very insecurity he's trying to hide. Instead, there's another way. A way that stirs his protective instincts and makes you unforgettable. Hold your own secrets. Speak of your own plans. Let your life shimmer with possibilities that exist entirely beyond him. Imagine he asks, "What are you doing tomorrow?" Instead of a full itinerary, you smile and say, "I have something fascinating on the horizon. I'll tell you about it later." Or you mention a new opportunity, a conference, a creative collaboration without explaining every detail. This gentle mystery doesn't breed distrust. It breeds a healthy tension. He begins to wonder, is there a world she might leave me for? Am I enough to keep her attention? And in that wondering, he rises to meet your energy. This is not cruelty. It's the delicate art of letting a man feel that your life is full, that you choose him, not from emptiness, but from abundance. When you master this pattern, you become the woman whose presence challenges him to become the best version of himself. And in doing so, you ignite a loyalty that cannot be replicated. Pattern 5. The need for admiration with challenge. Deep within a man's chest burns an eternal forge, a place where his identity is hammered into shape. He needs to feel admired, but not idolized. Encouraged, but not coddled. Here lies the 5th weakness. A man thrives when he is both seen for his greatness and gently pushed toward even greater horizons. Jung might call it the individuation process, the drive to become all he is capable of being. Yet most women err in one direction or the other. They either shower a man with endless praise until it rings hollow, or challenge him so relentlessly that respect gives way to resentment. The secret is balance. Imagine he has suffered a professional loss. Most women either pity him, softening their voices, apologizing for his pain, or panic and try to fix everything. Instead, picture this. You stand close, calm as still water, and say, "I see the strength that lives in you. This moment doesn't define who you are, and I have no doubt you'll rise even stronger." Or when he grows complacent, you look him in the eyes and say, "I admire what you've accomplished, but I also know there's another level in you that you haven't touched yet." No accusations, no shaming, just the steady voice of belief in his potential. Men crave a woman who reflects their greatness back to them, while refusing to let them remain small. To practice this, learn to separate the man from the moment. See him not just as who he is today, but who he could become tomorrow. Speak to that future self with gentle conviction. When you master this pattern, you become the woman who is both refuge and spark, the place he finds solace and the fire that fuels his evolution. And in loving you, he discovers he loves the man he becomes in your presence. Pattern 6. Social presence and status awareness. There's a secret world of signals that unfolds whenever human beings gather. A dance of glances, posture, tone, and silent hierarchies. Men, whether they admit it or not, are exquisitely sensitive to this dance. Jung believed that each of us projects an aura into the world, a psychic atmosphere that others sense before a single word is spoken. Here lies the 6th weakness. A man's desire intensifies in the presence of a woman who moves through the world with quiet, sovereign confidence. Most women shrink in social spaces. They apologize for existing. They fill silences with nervous chatter. They defer, yielding their space as though their presence is an inconvenience. But a woman of presence transforms any room she enters. Picture her, stepping into a restaurant, shoulders relaxed, gaze serene. She smiles at the host, acknowledges the waitstaff with respect. She speaks calmly, choosing words like precious stones. She never rushes to fill a silence. She does not demand attention, yet eyes are drawn to her as if by gravitational pull. Men watch her and feel a surge of pride. This is the woman at my side. This is the standard of connection I'm capable of creating. To cultivate this presence, begin small. Practice standing tall. Let your breath slow your speech. Resist the impulse to explain yourself unnecessarily. Treat every person, from the CEO to the server, with grace and dignity. This is not performance. It is the outward expression of genuine self-respect. When you master this pattern, you become the woman who radiates quiet authority and elegance. And in your presence, a man feels that by loving you, he steps into a higher version of himself. Because true feminine power doesn't shout. It simply is, and the world rearranges itself around its silent command. Pattern 7. The accountability mirror. There comes a moment in every relationship when words spoken in passion collide with actions taken in reality. Men often proclaim their values with certainty. I value loyalty above all. Honesty is everything to me. I hate drama. And yet, human nature is a web of contradictions. Jung taught that the shadow holds everything we deny in ourselves, our hypocrisies, fears, and hidden impulses. Here lies the 7th weakness. Men are sometimes blind to the gap between who they say they are and what they actually do. Most women either ignore these gaps, shrinking themselves to avoid conflict, or explode in emotional storms that scorch the earth. But there is another path, the accountability mirror. Imagine a man who insists he despises gossip, yet you catch him speaking cruelly about a colleague. Instead of accusation, you say gently, "I remember you once told me how important integrity is to you. Do you feel like this conversation aligns with that?" Or he claims he's ready for commitment, yet vanishes for days. Rather than pleading, you say, "You've shared how much honesty matters to you. I'm curious how this silence fits into that. These words are not daggers, they are reflections, a calm mirror showing him his own face. And it shakes him, because suddenly he realizes you're not merely a woman in his life, you're the witness to who he truly is. The human psyche craves alignment. When confronted with dissonance between belief and behavior, a man must either evolve or retreat. To practice this pattern, listen intently when he speaks of values. Store his words like sacred texts. Then, when actions contradict them, reflect his own language back with calm curiosity. No anger, no shaming. Just the quiet power of a woman who knows truth when she hears it. When you master this pattern, you become the woman who inspires him to grow. Not because you demand it, but because your presence refuses to accept half-truths, and he learns that in your eyes, he cannot hide from the man he was born to be. Pattern 8. Authentic feminine energy. In a world that demands women harden themselves to survive, authentic feminine energy has become a lost art. Too many women believe power lies only in masculine traits: decisiveness, assertiveness, relentless logic. But Jung would remind us that true wholeness requires both the masculine and the feminine fully expressed. Here lies the 8th weakness. The masculine soul yearns for a partner who embodies the soft power he cannot create alone. This is not submission, nor is it weakness. It is the elegant strength of water, gentle enough to soothe, powerful enough to carve mountains. Most women, fearing vulnerability, wear armor. They scoff at tenderness, suppress their intuition, and numb their sensuality. But a woman rooted in authentic feminine energy moves differently. She trusts the intelligence of her body. She listens to intuition without apology. She speaks truth gently but firmly. Imagine her, leaning into a man's chest when he's troubled, simply breathing with him until the storm passes, instead of flooding him with frantic solutions. Or the way she laughs freely, eyes sparkling, untamed, reminding him of life's beauty. Her feminine energy invites him to relax his armor, to step into his masculine fully. To practice this, reconnect with the rhythms of your own body. Dance, walk barefoot in grass, create beauty around you, embrace moments of silence. Let softness coexist with your strength. This is not a performance, it is a return to your own essence. When you master this pattern, you become the woman who feels like both home and adventure. And a man who encounters that presence realizes he has found something rare. A woman who inspires him to be a warrior, yet offers him sanctuary when the battle ends. Pattern 9. Unshakable self-worth. All the patterns before this one flow from a single, unbreakable core. Jung believed individuation, the journey to become whole, requires claiming the truth of who you are, unapologetically. Here lies the 9th weakness, and paradoxically, your greatest power. Men are magnetically drawn to a woman who knows she can walk away. Not from coldness, not from spite, but from the deepest knowing that her worth is non-negotiable. Most women abandon themselves in pursuit of love. They lower boundaries. They accept crumbs. They stay silent to keep the peace. But the woman of unshakable self-worth moves through life differently. Imagine her discovering he's lied. Instead of pleading or raging, she says quietly, "This doesn't work for me. I wish you well." Or when he pulls away emotionally, she doesn't chase. She leans back into her life, her passions, her friendships, because she understands her value remains untouched. This is not a threat. It is the serene confidence of someone who chooses love, but does not require it to feel whole. To cultivate this, examine where you've been willing to abandon yourself for connection. Heal the wounds that whispered you're not enough. Establish standards and uphold them, even when your heart aches. When you master this pattern, you become the woman who enters a room and changes the gravity. A man knows that loving you is a privilege, not a right granted by his mere presence, and in that knowing, he cherishes you more fiercely than words can ever capture. Because a woman who does not need him is the very woman he cannot bear to lose. And so, these 9 patterns stand before you, not as weapons of manipulation, but as instruments of truth. They are the keys to a hidden kingdom, a place where your presence alone ignites devotion, where your boundaries create respect, where your softness becomes your strongest shield. This is not about conquering men. It is about becoming the woman who no longer chases scraps of affection. Because she radiates a power so luminous that love must rise to meet her. Understand this. Only a small fraction of women will ever master these truths. Not because they lack beauty or intelligence, but because it requires the courage to leave behind the comfort of the familiar. It means giving up the frantic proving, the endless explaining, the silent shrinking. It demands you stand in rooms with your head high, even when your voice shakes. But for the woman who chooses this path, the world changes. Men sense it. They feel it in your stillness, your laughter, your gaze. They know instinctively that you are not an option, but a revelation. And beyond romance, this power ripples into every domain of your life. You become the trusted friend, the admired leader, the magnetic force who elevates every space she enters. These are not tricks. They are reflections of who you were always meant to be. So I ask you, will you remain where you've always been, or step into the cave you fear to enter, knowing it holds the treasure you seek? As Joseph Campbell said, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. Your treasure is not just love. It is the woman you become when you remember that you were born extraordinary, and the world is waiting for her.